Hello and welcome back. Today we are having a look at simple interest. So as you can see, we've got our formula already here where we've got I equals PRT. Easiest way to remember that is because it is in alphabetical order. So the important parts of that though, when you are looking to look at the I is obviously your interest. P is your principal or your starting amount. So whether you're looking at an investment or a loan, if you're looking at an investment, it's the amount of money you put into an account. If you're looking at a loan, it's you're looking at how much you borrow. The R is obviously, it's going to stand for rate. Now we have to write that as a decimal. So for example, if you've been given 3.5 or 3.3%, you need to jump your decimal place 2 places to the left. So you would actually write that in as 0.033, and T is going to stand for time. And the big thing about the time is the unit needs to match the rate. So for instance, most of the time you'll have that as per annum, so 3.3% per annum, which means that you have to write your time as years, because annum means years. So what we're going to have a look at now is we're going to have a go over a couple of different types of questions. So our first question you got there is, if Bob puts $1,300 into a savings account offering 3.5% per annum over 5 years, how much interest does he earn? So as always, we're going to start with our rule, I equals PRT. So my P, my principal by starting amount, is $1,300. My rate I can see is 3.5% per annum, but as I just said, we don't write it as the percentage, we need to turn that into a decimal. So I get 0.035 and my time is 5 years. Now the really simple part of that is I punch all of that as is into a calculator. We go 1,300 times 0.035 times 5, and I end up with $227.50. So when I look at my answer, Bob makes $227.50 interest. We need to get into the habit when we have a word problem. So it's saying how much interest does he earn? Well, we should answer that as a sentence. So a simple sentence there, Bob makes that much interest. All right, next one. We have a look. Julie's getting a simple interest loan. She's borrowing $15,000 at 12% per annum over 48 months. So it says, what are her monthly repayments? So there's a couple of steps to this one. So we start off, we need to find, well, what interest does she pay initially? So the interest again is PRT. So the principal, she's borrowing $15,000. She's doing that at 12%, which as a decimal is 0.12. Now you have a look at your time, 48 months. We're not going to write months because remember we said that the time needs to match the rate, the unit. So 48 months in years, I just go 48 divided by 12, and so I end up with 4 years. So again, that's exactly what I punch into my calculator. 15,000 times 0.12 times 4, and that will give me $7,200. Now I'm not quite there yet, because when we get a loan, we not only have to pay the interest back, but we also have to pay the principal back. So to find out the total, we do our principal plus our interest. So in this case, that's $15,000 plus $7,200, which will give us 22200. So that still hasn't answered my question though, because the question is, what are her monthly repayments? So if she knows that she's got to pay $22,200 back, and we know that she's got 48 months to do it, so I simply divide that by 48, and so I get 22200 divided by 48, and the wonder of calculators tells me that that is $462.50. $2,250. So again, I don't have much room there, but when you were writing your answer, you would write it as a sentence. So you would write the answer: Julie will need to pay $462.50 per month in order to pay back her loan. Then we have a look at the different types of questions. And so this time, your question reads: if Doug invests $1,800 into a term deposit account offering 2.25% per annum, he wants to withdraw $2,000, how long does he need to leave the money in for? So this time, the question isn't asking for the interest. So we have to look at the question, how long does he need to leave the money in? I'm looking for time. So what I need to do now is I need to make T the subject of my equation, which means I need to get T on its own. So as I look at that, I've got the P and the R that I need to get rid of. Now, I know from algebra that there's actually little time symbols in there that we don't write because they are understood. And so to get that T on its own, I have to do the opposite. And the opposite of times is divide. So I need to divide this side by P and R. And my golden rule of math says if I do it to this side, I have to balance and do it to this side. So the reason for that is if something's on the top and the bottom, I can cross them out and they cancel each other out. So this side's left with T, this side's left with I over PR. So over here, I can rewrite that and simply then punch in my values. So my interest, if Doug invests $1,800 and he wants to withdraw $2,000, well, he needs to make $200 in interest. So that's going to be the difference in that. So the principal, he started with, made a boo-boo. He started with $1,800 and his rate is 2.25, which I'm going to write as a decimal, 0.025. And important thing here is I need to make my calculator look exactly like that. So I'm going to use my ABC function on the calculator to make it into a fraction, and that's going to tell me that that is 4.44 recurring. Now the question there says how long does he need to leave the money in for? Now if he leaves it in for just 4.44, then that's going to be just shy. So he's actually going to need to leave it in for 4.45 years. Right, so again, I'd write that as a sentence. Doug needs to leave his money in for 4.45 years. You might even round up to 4.5 if you're feeling generous. Next one, if Millie wants to earn $300 interest in 3 years and her bank is offering 3% per annum, how much does she need to invest? All right, so this time, if I'm wondering how much she needs to invest, I need to find out what the P is, the principal. So same theory as before, I need to get rid of my R and T from this side, so I'm just going to divide this side by R and T, going to divide this side by R and T. They cancel, so I'm left with P equals I over rate times time. So my principal, my interest, she wants to earn $300. My rate is 0.03. My time is 3 years. So again, I'm going to use my ABC function on my calculator and make the calculator look exactly like that. 300 over 0.03 times 3. And it's telling me that she needs to invest $3,333.33 recurring. So again, if it's 333, if she just puts 33 cents in, she's not quite going to make it. So you might be a bit reasonable with money and make that 35 cents as your answer. You can very easily justify that. Last one we're going to look at. If Bill borrows 10 grand over 4 years and is prepared to pay $4,500 interest over that time, what's the maximum interest rate he can borrow at? So again, I write my initial rule, and this time I'm wanting to know what the rate is, so I have to get rid of my P and T from that side, get rid of P and T that side. So rate equals interest over principal times time. So he said he's prepared to pay $4,500 in interest. His initial loan is $10,000. He wants to pay it off over 4 years. So 4,500, use my ABC function, 10,000 times 4, and it tells me that it's going to be 0.1125. Now, that's as a decimal, so just as I went a percentage to a decimal, jump that 0.2 places to the left, this time if I'm going back the other way, I'm going to jump 2 places to the right, and my answer is going to be 11.25%. What a dreadful circle, that was Rasheen's fault. So I would write that as a sentence, say, well, Bill can borrow, find a bank offering up to 11.25%. That's pretty much all that you need to worry about with simple interest. If you're looking at textbook questions, you're looking at about page 56 to have a crack at those. Ignore the process because it'll tell you a different rule. This rule's easier. And George is getting confused, but that's okay. It happens a lot. I don't know. They're being weird. Anyway, peace out, y'all.